All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And here we have a story out of St. Paul's, Minnesota, where police have used the same narrative that this man pointed a gun at him, and that is why they had to take his life. Now, I'm going to show you 3 videos, 2 of which are from the police point of view, but the last video is from someone who have broken down the scene with little extra footage than the news is saying. Now, this is concerning the death of 36-year-old Mychael Stowers, who was killed last year in October or November 2024 in St. Paul's, Minnesota. Now, you're going to watch these videos, and they're going to paint him as a murder suspect. And then they're going to bring up his criminal record, which is used in an attempt to justify these officers wantonly shooting through their police cruiser window. Both officers shoot through their police cruiser windows even before they make contact with Mr. Stout. So first, I'm going to play you these news videos, and I'm playing these videos in fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. But just watch the age-old narrative that we've covered many times on this channel, and you can see how the narrative is framed to justify the taking of the life of Mychael Stowers. Just watch.
Thank you for joining us. We begin with some late-breaking developments about the deadly police shooting in St. Paul that happened on Saturday.
This afternoon, the Minnesota BCA confirmed the man who police fired on was the subject of a nationwide manhunt after being suspected of murdering his pregnant ex-wife in St. Paul. According to authorities, 36-year-old Mychael Stowers was also suspected of other crimes, including an attempted carjacking. He died on Saturday after being shot multiple times by police. Authorities are now combing through body cam and security video that captured the shooting. Here's Raya Katene with the new information. Raya?
Well, Julie, we now know that 2 St. Paul police officers fired their weapons during the shooting on Saturday afternoon. Authorities say Stowers was taken to the hospital where he later died. And now some people living in the South St. Paul neighborhood where this all happened are left with these bullet holes in the fence around their house. 3 weeks after authorities say 36-year-old Mychael Stowers murdered his pregnant ex-wife at this St. Paul apartment. He was shot and killed by St. Paul police officers over the weekend.
And it's just a good thing the kids weren't home. That kind of helps a lot. So, I mean, but yeah, it's still kind of crazy seeing somebody dead right outside your house.
Nick Burzek says he saw the shooting from his window before frantically calling his brother.
Got the call from my brother that somebody just got shot out front, and he was all frantic, and we just moved here.
The St. Paul Police Department says officers Eric Jaworski and Matthew Foy both fired their weapons after they say Stowers pointed a gun at them. They each have 10 years of law enforcement experience and are now on critical incident leave.
I could see a bunch of cops running this way, and then I seen a bunch of them, they had ARs and stuff, and I seen them all start shooting.
Stowers was at the center of a weeks-long manhunt after authorities say he shot and killed his ex-wife, Tamara Stowers, in October. That same day, authorities say he shot someone else before stealing their car. Stowers had been out of prison on work release since March after being convicted of second-degree murder in 2008. Now neighbors here say they're shaken by what they witnessed over the weekend.
We haven't had problems. We haven't had anything like that. So it's been calm. We all get along with everybody in the block. And it is just something I was shocked.
The BCA says no one else was hurt in the shooting, and now 6 officers, including the 2 who fired their weapons and 4 others who were there, are still on administrative leave. And Julie, that is standard procedure after an officer-involved shooting.
All right. Thank you, Raya.
All right, so there you have one narrative of events. Now, you see they didn't show any of the body cam footage that you're going to see in the next video, but they started that news article with the crimes that he committed. You know, a suspected of murdering his pregnant ex-wife. They continued on throughout the narrative where, you know, he even shot another person and took their car suspectedly. And then, you know, in 2008, he did this and that and the other. So all of that puts in your mind that he is a bad guy. So nothing to see here. We shot him. He pointed a gun at police. Mind you, he's already shot 2 or 3 people. So we definitely, this is nothing to see here. Just move on. We're keeping the neighborhood safe. They bring up the neighbors to garner that kind of sympathy. And so they automatically framed the narrative that this was justified. This was a bad guy. We have white people in the area. We got to keep them safe. He has a criminal record, all of these things. And of course, the officers on administrative leave. Now, if you notice, this news article said the officer's name. So once again, I refer back to Cincinnati police chief that always say we can't release the officer's name because of some Marcy's law. What she's doing is protecting the murderers of people in her city. Now, this next video is some police analyst, and he's going to justify it, and watch how they do the same thing they did with Ryan Hinton, show still shots, and they're going to make a circle talking about this is where he pointed the gun, right? But you're going to see this and tell me if you can't feel the piss dripping down your back, which they're telling you is water. Just watch. And once again, fair use.
1, 2, 3 people now shot by St. Paul police in just the past couple of months. That is more shootings than cops in the capital city had all of last year.
All 3 men this year were accused killers and accused of pointing a gun at police. Dramatic new footage out late today shows an officer shooting one of the suspects with his rifle through the squad car windshield. New tonight, our Uba Ali watched that footage with an expert who says that officer and his partner were forced to fire.
A split-second decision.
There's a prime case for you.
Retired police officer and use of force expert Joe Dutton says is apparent in this newly released body camera footage from St. Paul police.
To get 2 officers to shoot simultaneously at somebody, especially when they're apart from one another, they both saw the same thing.
A tip led them to Mychael Stowers, who's suspected of killing his pregnant ex-wife. Video shows the officers speed towards Stowers on a bike. Within seconds, one officer shoots from inside the squad. This orange circle added by police is when law enforcement says Stowers pointed a gun.
Now let's stop it right there. That is the trick. They're talking about this orange circle right here is when police say he pointed a gun. Does that look like he's pointing a gun? Like, this is the trickery that they say, okay, we're going to just hold this still shot, and this is where he pointed a gun.
And at officers.
You have to now engage right now.
Another angle shows Stowers jump off the bike before more shots ring out. Dutton says both.
They shot that man even before he got off the bike. How you going to point a gun with 2 hands on the handlebars? They were shooting to kill.
Officers did the right thing.
They're saying he had a gun and he was pointing it at them. Their reaction was somebody pointing a gun at them.
This marked the 3rd shooting by St. Paul police in less than 2 months. There were 2 all of last year. Just a week before,
drop the gun!
Police shot this man accused of killing 3 people at a Minneapolis homeless camp. The end of September, police shot and killed a man an hour away in Belle Plaine. He was wanted in the random killing of this artist. A troubling trend for the city's top cop.
None of the people standing here wants these outcomes.
Who's leaning on community.
If men in our community stand up, little boys will sit down.
To turn the trend around.
All right, let's stop it right there, because you see this use of force police expert justifying those officers shooting him, talking about, well, this is where he pointed the gun. There is no gun. And one thing you know about these situations, if there was a gun, they would be showing it. They would be showing this is the gun he had. Why is there no picture of a gun? Because as I'm going to show you in this footage right here, he never had a gun. He never had a gun. And you see those police officers ride up and shoot through the windshield. Shoot through the windshield while his hands are still like this on the bike. Why? Because he was wanted for doing what they said he did. Now, even if he did what he said he did, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And so their desire to take this man's life is an example of their training. This guy is talking about, well, if two officers see the same thing, if they were forced to shoot, that means they must have seen the same thing. Yeah, they saw a black man with quote unquote warrants. That is an open target. It's open season. I can take him out and I'm going to get 6 months off of administrative leave with pay. I'm going to get a vacation with pay. But just check out this next video. Once again, this is fair use. This video shows you after them shooting him, and they wait about 2 minutes before even walking up on him. They've already shot him dead. He's motionless, and there's still just like 10 officers just standing there pointing a gun at him, waiting. And then when they get there, they search him. You never see a gun. Just check this out.
I've never seen footage of Mychael Stowers shot and unalived by the St. Paul Police Department. Family members say this video refutes what the police says happened.
The shot started.
Now, do you see how quickly they shot him? There's no way that they can say he pointed a gun. Soon as they got within range, they started shooting. Anybody see him point a gun? Let's rewind it real quick.
The shot started as that squad was arriving at the scene. One of the officers appearing to shoot through the windshield.
The next video shows new cell phone footage recorded by a community member. As you can see, Mychael Stowers' body is seen lying lifeless on the ground. It takes at least 1 minute and 28 seconds for officers to approach Mr. Stowers.
Now, why are they waiting so long when it's clear that
as they approach, their guns are drawn and they put his hands behind his back as he lie on the ground motionless. They rolled him over as they search for a weapon.
no medical attention, right?
A police car pulls up,
No ambulance.
but there's no ambulance, no CPR, or no life-saving measures taken. The family believes Mychael Stowers did not fire at the police. They believe this newly released video proves Mr. Stowers was unjustly unalived by the St. Paul Police Department.
All right, so there you see that video, and I had to take a quick look because that did look like a gun laying on the pavement, but it wasn't, because if it was a gun, as soon as those officers got beside him, they would have picked that gun up and kicked it away. But they turned him over, then start searching for weapons, never producing a gun. So it leads me to believe that he never had a gun. But because of the narrative of him being a wanted suspect in a murder, then he was automatically assumed dangerous, and he's a legitimate target to be taken out like that. And then you see them waiting. They waiting is 10 officers. It's a black man laying dead in the streets, and they're still scared. They're still scared, or not even scared. It's almost like a spectacle. It's like a hunting. You know, they're hunting. You got 10 officers sitting there waiting for him to die, waiting for their prey to bleed out. And it's obvious that he's already dead. Talking about he was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. No, anybody could have pronounced him dead right there. You see the K9 unit jump up. No ambulance, no life-saving measures. And so that disputes those narratives that often go forth in these situations. But once again, rest in peace to the brother Mychael Stowers. I'm not the judge, jury, or executioner. I don't even know if he committed the crime that he went to jail for. But I think they used this narrative of him being, wanted for something as a green light, to want it dead or alive, as they used to say back in the days. But as the scripture says, there will be an evil and fierce nation, fierce continents that regards not the old, or shows no favor to the poor. And this is what we see in these situations. They are just picking us off one by one. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And as always, peace and blessings. Scripture says all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now.